Let me talk to you.
Biggest icon in wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me talk to you. Yeah.
Welcome. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Let Me Talk to You. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. I just want to make sure because my microphone has a different color, so I wasn't too sure if people can hear me. But welcome everybody to another episode of Let Me Talk to You, episode number 25, and of course, it is our live Dolphins schedule release party. Me and my brother DiTrapio are actually live at the same time that the schedule release for the Miami Dolphins will be out. So typically we start with NXT, but because we want to go ahead and address the Miami Dolphins schedule, we're going to go ahead and actually start with the Miami Dolphins. Then we'll talk a little bit about the Miami Heat. We'll go ahead and do a couple recap of some soccer. Inter Miami is playing tonight. I'm not sure if Messi's actually playing. I think he was going to be out today, so I'm not too sure. But if not, then if he's not playing, then obviously we will go ahead and at least keep you up to date to find out exactly what Inter Miami is doing. And then we'll also talk a little bit about the Florida Panthers. Unfortunately, they were not able to close the deal last night. They fell 2-1 to the Bruins. Now it's game 6 and in Boston, and it could be dangerous. Could be very dangerous because at the end of the day, the Panthers kind of put themselves in a sticky situation. So it could get even worse if by any chance they allow the Bruins to win at home and then bring it back to Florida, because then it'll be a game 7 free for all. So that's where we kind of stand. But let's go ahead and start, of course, with the Miami Dolphins, sir. Talk to me, man. What's going on? Have you heard any news right now as we are speaking? Anything breaking? Will the Dolphins have any particular any news being informed right now?
I mean, Twitter, or AKA as everyone knows as X. I'm a big fan of that platform, and I've been on it throughout the whole process today. And obviously, the biggest news that we know that's confirmed, it is Thursday Night Football, Week 2 against the Buffalo Bills here in Miami. But I've been hearing a whole bunch of other different projections when it comes to the scheduling. You know, starting the week, back-to-back home games, week 1 and 2, one against the Jaguars, one against the Bills.
Hold on a second. We have some news, sir. The actual release is out, sir. The Miami Dolphins schedule is officially out. Let's go ahead and share it with all you guys. I'm getting the reason I held up a little bit before I actually wanted to show, because I wanted to go ahead and get it from somebody who actually covers the Miami Dolphins, and of course is our boy Marcel Louis Jacques, who actually went ahead and just posted a couple minutes ago, actually a minute ago. And this is the official schedule for the Miami Dolphins. So the Miami Dolphins will open up their first game with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, sir, we will be going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars September the 8th. Then we have Thursday Night Football, which we already knew, against the Buffalo Bills. Then we're traveling to Seattle, man. So we're heading all the way to the kind of like the West Coast to go play at Seattle. Then we have a Monday Night Football versus the Tennessee Titans, sir. So we are getting back-to-back primetime games here in South Florida. First that Thursday night, and then 2 weeks later that Monday night football. Then we got at New England, October 6th. Our bye week is early on in the season. This is gonna be rough, Nick. This is gonna be rough because we got the bye on what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Week 6 is our bye. Wow, man, that is insane. And then after that, we got the Colts on the 20th, Arizona, 27th. We got Buffalo, early November. Then we got another primetime game on Monday Night Football against the Los Angeles Chargers. Or is that the Los Angeles? That's the Chargers, right? Is it the Chargers? I'm assuming it's the Chargers. But this is obviously in Los Angeles. Then we got the Raiders, the Patriots. We got another primetime game, Green Bay for Thanksgiving. December the 8th, we got New York. Now, I don't understand what that A means. I wonder what that A stands for. Do you know what that A stands for? So hit a like here. Repost this as well. I
I
wonder what
guess
that A
the A
stands for.
stands for afternoon, maybe afternoon game.
Hmm. Very interesting. Then we got the Houston game, which is not a primetime game, actually, December the 15th. San Francisco, December the 22nd. Then we have, I believe it's either gonna December the 29th. That looks like a Saturday, man. I think December the 29th is a Saturday. I don't think that's a Sunday, but I could be wrong. Let me check my calendar here. The 20th, nope, it's Sunday. So it's Sunday night football again against the Cleveland Browns. And then the very last game will either fall either that Saturday or Sunday against the New York Jets at home. Sir, talk to me, man. What you think? What do you think about the Miami Dolphins schedule? Can you hear me? Nick? I think Nick froze. Nick, are you there? DiTrabio? I think my brother froze. Yeah, he froze, so he's gonna jump back. Well, while he tries to figure out his situation with his connection, let me go ahead and tell you what I think about this particular schedule. So first and foremost, man, not looking easy for us. I like the fact that we're in a lot of primetime games. That's pretty cool. Primetime is pretty interesting that we're able to go ahead and be. So we're on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, we're 5 games. I'm still trying to figure out what that A stands for. If anybody in the chat or anybody watching us on Twitter knows what that stands for, let me know because I don't know what that A stands for. But we have 5 primetime games. So Miami Dolphins are very, very popular this year. Nick, are you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, talk to me, brother. What's going on, man? What you think about this particular schedule, man? What do you think about the Dolphins' chances here? What's up, King Mahi? Carlos?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah, I can hear, man.
No, it's just that my internet right now is acting a little weird. But I think I don't know if you heard me, but I said I think the A stands for afternoon or maybe an AM game, maybe super early game. I don't know, but whatever. Point is, it looks pretty solid to me. Obviously, the week 6 bye seems a little concerning, because now we have a long stretch of games without having to have any breaks, especially between that November month where we have the Patriots on the 24th, and then 4 days later we go against the Green Bay Packers in Thanksgiving. That's going to be a hard stretch for us, just seeing from live reaction here. But everything else, it seems pretty solid. All the teams look really competitive, but I have some games here where I can see the Dolphins dominate, and then I have a couple of games where I'm like, okay, I'm just trying to find out which is that one game where the Dolphins is going to be, weird.
Yeah,
Where is
it's
when is it going to be our Green Bay game in Christmas or that Monday Night Football game against the Tennessee Titans? I wonder which game that's going to be.
well, I actually let me go ahead and update this as well because I actually have here
Because
the
December doesn't look bad. It doesn't look cold at all. December 8th, we have New York here. December 15th is Houston. That's not bad.
hold on a second, sir. Give
And
me
then you
1
have
minute here.
Cleveland. Cleveland's pretty cold, but I know, I get it. Yeah, don't worry about the weather. Don't worry about the element. But hey, historically, we're not that great in the cold. So hopefully having maybe the offense should be good by then, in the sense of players having to get to know this offense, because it's a little bit complicated when it comes to Mike McDaniel's offense. Um, but it looks pretty solid to me, sir. I don't mind it at all, man.
Well, as you can see, I'm trying to see if I could get this to be like the whole screen. See, does that look better?
Yeah, you can probably zoom in with
Let me see if can I zoom in a little bit. There you go. Does that look better?
yeah.
Okay. So, um, there you go. Yeah, it looks a lot better. All right, cool. All right, so this is from the Miami Dolphins official Twitter account. So we got 1 o'clock against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 8:15 against the Buffalo Bills. We got an afternoon game against Seattle. Obviously, we kind of figured that was going to be happen. Then Monday Night Football, but we're actually playing Monday Night Football, Nick, but it's at 7:30. So we're not playing at 9:30. So it's an early ass game. Oh wow. That sucks that we're the 7:30 game. Damn, that sucks. That means I gotta leave work early. God damn it. Like I gotta leave or leave exactly when I'm out by 5. Wow, that sucks. Then you got the Patriots at 1. We got our bye week 6. Week 7 is the Indianapolis Colts away. Arizona's at 1. Ooh, the Arizona game. Oh, but that's because we're playing them at home. That Buffalo game, it is the LA Rams. I figured it was the Rams. So the Rams on Monday Night Football at 8:15. The Raiders at 1. The Patriots at 1. The Packers on Thanksgiving at 8:20. The Jets at 1. The Texans at 1. The San Francisco 49er game at 4:25. Sunday Night Football at 8:20. And then week 8 is the Jets. Wow. Okay. All right, sir. Talk to me, man. What do you think, man? We're gonna go over our pre prediction, sir, as far as what we think the record's gonna be. And I know you said that you were satisfied with you were satisfied with you were a little bit concerned about the week 6 being the bye week. So we got an early bye week. And what else did you say you were a little bit concerned about?
Week 12 and 13, which is a 4-game day apiece.
Week 12 and the 14th. Why are you
No,
worried
the
about
13th. The 13th.
why the 12th and the 13th? What's going on there? Oh, because it's a short week.
Yeah, it's Thanksgiving prime time, and then one thing, the commute. Having to travel from a home game all the way to an away game. That's gonna take some time, and then obviously it's gonna be a little bit cold down there. I mean, up there in Wisconsin.
Well, not only that, but check this out. We got to play in the cold, probably the Packers. We're going to have to play in the cold against the Cleveland Browns because it's going to be cold in Cleveland. And San Francisco might be a little bit chilly as well.
Nah, that's your team, sir.
Huh? Oh, that one's here. That's here. You're right. That one's here. The Texans, that's warm. The Jets is gonna. Well, it depends on that week 18 because we don't even close the season at home. We close the season away in New York, actually. Wow. So Dolphins taking over Jets
MetLife.
MetLife takeover will have to wait all the way until week 14. I'm sorry, week 18. Wow. That's crazy. I mean, the good thing I will say this. All right, so let me break this down at least the way I look at it. I like the fact that we do have primetime games. So we got Buffalo, we got Tennessee, we got the Rams, we got the Green Bay Packers, and we got the Cleveland Browns. And eventually they might change that week 18 game depending on how the Dolphins and the Jets are doing. I don't like the fact that we have to go all the way to the West Coast for one game and then come back. I mean, I would have enjoyed it for it to be like, hey, let's go to the West Coast. Let's deal with San Francisco and maybe Green Bay because Green Bay is not too far away. Or the Rams. There you go. The Rams game would have probably worked if the Dolphins. Oh well, the San Francisco game is at home. I keep thinking it's away. So technically, there is not that much West Coast stuff. Only the West Coast is Week 10, and Arizona too. I
Do
wish they
you
would have.
wanna do you wanna break it down where we just talk about the primetime games first, so what record they get, then and then maybe the home games record, and then the away games record, and then we kind of do an overall prediction. You
Yeah,
want to
we
do
could do
that?
this. All right, so let's do this. Let's first look at the primetime games, right? So we got the first game against Buffalo. What do you think about that game? Do you like the fact that the Dolphins have it prime time, that it's Thursday night, that it's at 8:15, and that it's at home? Do you like that game or do you not? And who do you think might win that game?
I like this game just because it's gonna be here at home. It's gonna be already a challenge from the get go. You know how sometimes certain teams have like easy, I don't want to say easier, but just less competitive route in the beginning of the season, and then towards the end of the season they start kind of like having to hit harder challenges and stuff like that. So I'm just liking the fact that we're getting both playoff teams back to back weeks. It's just a challenge already, and good thing is it's week 2, so we'll be healthy too. You don't know how long Teron Armstead is gonna be around, so I'm glad we're gonna have Teron Armstead and all those boys. Unfortunately, we probably not gonna have Jalen Phillips or Bradley Chubb by then. We'll
Yep.
probably have them by, I want to say, that away game against Buffalo week 9. I think that's when both of them come back. Bradley Chubb for sure might come back at that time. I don't know about Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips probably won't be back until a Thanksgiving game, in my opinion. But from the get go, I'm liking it. It sucks that we're not using our elements. It's a night game, so it won't be hot. It will be humid, but it won't be hot like sun blazing. But overall, right now, I think we have a good shot. Prime time. It's a short week too. It's not a long week either.
All right. So for me, I don't like the Buffalo game. A couple of reasons. Number one, you mentioned it. Obviously, we're not going to be fully healthy. We probably won't have Bradley Chubb. He'll still be probably injured. Second of all, we probably are not going to go ahead and have. We don't have the Buffalo Bills don't have to deal with the sun because it's Thursday night. So although it's going to be humid, it won't be humid to the extreme where they could be bitching and complaining like they usually do. Um, as far as the defense is concerned, besides Bradley Chubb not being available, I also feel that the defense is too green right now. There's a lot of new faces on this team, so we don't know what to expect with this defense. Obviously, we're gonna have to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, but still, to go in and have to kind of settle down and try to beat Buffalo at home without this defense kind of proving itself, although Jacksonville is a tough game. And then actually, I also don't like the fact that it's a Thursday night game. I think it helps the Bills Mafia make it to a weekend. They're gonna come here. They'll probably make it a whole, enjoyable night and weekend because they'll come here either Wednesday or Thursday, and then they'll just stay for the long weekend, and then head back to Buffalo on Wednesday. And knowing the Miami Dolphin fans, especially since it's a Thursday night game and everybody's gonna be like either 1-0 or 0-1, this game is gonna have some significant meaning. So right now, I don't like that game. I don't like Buffalo being here early on. I think that's not favorable for the Dolphins, but it is what it is. I'll tell you we'll go ahead and address it in a minute exactly if we feel who's gonna win and whatnot. Then we got Monday night. We got Seattle, and then we got Monday night. I'll go with this one. Monday night, Tennessee. I'll say this: I'm not that scared of that Tennessee because obviously they got rid of that coach, and that coach kind of had our number. So at least now, with them not having their original coach, I do see the Dolphins possibly winning this. But again, I hate the fact that we're playing them prime time, just for the simple fact that Miami is going to be coming from the West Coast all the way over to Miami again just to go against Tennessee. So it's annoying. Although they do have an extra day because it's gonna be Monday Night Football. So and they'll have a long so they'll have an extra day for them to do their stuff and practice and stuff. But again, it just feels kind of not the best situation for the Dolphins. I think I would have preferred to had that Monday night game maybe week 5 or week 7. What about you, sir? What do you think about that Monday Night Football game against the Tennessee Titans? Are you frozen again?
No, I'm here. I'm here.
Sir, talk to me, man. What's going on, sir? What do you think about the Tennessee game, sir?
Like I said, I'm having some poor connection issues, so I sometimes feel like I come in and out. But I did hear that you were talking about the Monday Night Football game. This is the one game where I'm a little bit concerned. Not so much Buffalo, but more on the Tennessee Titans game. It seemed like they've been able to figure us out and pull out wins, and so maybe I'm just thinking trauma from last year, but this is one game where I'm like, all right, we can see some challenges here, but to be honest with you, I see the Dolphins winning the Bills game, and I see the Dolphins winning the Tennessee game. It
All right.
won't be like a 14-17 game, but I feel like it's gonna be, one of those high 20s, low 30s game, like a 32-28 type of game.
And Yo Hood, thank you so much for tuning in, man. I see here him chatting here in the chat board. He says the NFL is unexpected. Teams can develop and grow. That's what the Texans did. Expect the unexpected with this upcoming schedule. And then he goes ahead and says our schedule is considered easy. We played the Titans last season and lost horrendously. Well, Yo Hood, I mean, this is the thing that I'm seeing here. It does look this schedule doesn't look that difficult, but it also looks kind of unpredictable. We don't know exactly what Miami is going to be able to do against these teams. I mean, we don't have to. We have a lot of okay. So if you break it down, I don't like that bye week being so early. So that means that after week 6, that's it. After that, we don't got a break. We got to go. And you know how prone the Dolphins are to getting injured. So that's a concern already for me. I will say this though. They got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games after the bye, right? So they got 12 games after the bye. And out of those 12 games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them are home, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are away. So at least the NFL looked out. They kind of went in and said, hey, we're going to balance it out. We're going to give you 5 games at home and 6 games away. So at least they kind of balanced it out. They didn't favor so much with a lot more away games before the bye.
No international games too.
That's actually good, man. I mean, we've been going ahead and always playing internationally. So I'm happy that we get to at least see the Dolphins here. And they're making them prime time, dude. Like they really the NFL really believes either one, the Dolphins are very entertaining for TV, or number 2, they actually think maybe the Dolphins can still make some noise. And
Yeah.
I also feel that they probably they love that controversy with Tua. Like there's a lot. Plus, let's not forget we got Odell. So you got Tyreek, Waddle, and Odell now. So you got 3 guys that are gonna make people tune in immediately to see how the Dolphins are doing. So
what about the other primetime game, like the Monday Night Football game against the LA?
The LA game, Monday night, it's gonna be for me. It's a little bit challenging because the week before we had Buffalo, so we could have back-to-back losses because of that. You feel me? And we struggle against Buffalo at Buffalo, so it could be kind of like back-to-back losses there. The only good thing is that after that we have 2 home games to kind of recover. So if we take back-to-back L's those 2 weeks, at least week 11, week 12, we're able to recuperate and probably win the next 2 games. Especially since I don't believe New England's going to do anything, and obviously I don't feel the same either about the Raiders. So I think that that Monday night game, I could look. You could look at this. If on that Monday night game, right, the Dolphins actually pull that game and actually win it, there's a very, very good chance that the Dolphins might go 5-0 and those 5 week span, because although Green Bay is gonna be in Thanksgiving and all that stuff, and it's gonna be chilly and cold, I don't see like a Green Bay like a title contender. I think they're a playoff team. They're a good team, but I don't see them like a team that, oh my god, we gotta watch out. Like, hey, um, there's some like we could fall behind. My scared part about the schedule is that last 4 weeks, because now we're going against the Texans, right? And you saw what the Texans did last year. We got to go against San Francisco, who's always going to be a title contender. And then we got Sunday Night Football against Cleveland. And don't forget, they probably got Deshaun Watson back. And Deshaun Watson is going to be playing in that game. And then if we're in a dogfight with anybody in the division, or if we're in the dogfight for a playoff spot, we're not even playing at home. We're playing away. We're playing in New York against the Jets and Aaron Rodgers, for that matter. And by that time, Aaron Rodgers, if he's healthy, we either know the Jets are either contenders, or that we see that the Jets are like falling apart. So I'm not liking too much that Monday night game, and I'm not liking much that Sunday night game against Cleveland. I'm fine with the Thanksgiving game.
So you got the Dolphins going 5-0 in prime time.
All right, well, let's go ahead and then let's do our predictions as far as our pre predictions of what we think, right? And we'll go back and forth. 1 week you'll go and you pick first, and then I'll go the second, and vice versa. We'll go like that. So week 1, as you could tell, and I'm gonna write this down. So I got Frankie, and then I'm gonna put Nick. So week 1 is Jacksonville versus us at home. I'll go first on this one. Hey, what up, Chad? Welcome, sir. Welcome. We're just breaking down the schedule and giving our kind of like showed it for just like 2 seconds. Let me show it a little bit longer. And then we're gonna go ahead and kind of make our pre predictions as to what we do. Because me and my brother like to do pre conditions. This is gonna be our first pre predictions of what we do. We'll do this right now, then we'll do it again right after the preseason, right before the first week of the season, just to see. By that time, we've already seen how the Dolphins are. They've maybe added some extra pieces, and we've also seen some preseason games to kind of go ahead and make a judgment as far as like we still feel confident with our picks. And then during the week, during the schedule, somewhere in the middle, I guess like week 9, we'll go ahead and be breaking down our first half of what we think about the Dolphins, and then predicting our second half if anything has changed. All right, so let's do this. Jacksonville comes to Miami. This is not that bad of a road trip for Jacksonville. They're a couple of hours up north from us. They are a playoff contending team. They got a solid quarterback. If Miami is who Miami is, Miami should win this game. So I'm going to go ahead and say Miami beats Jacksonville week 1. What about you, sir?
Like you said, it's a Florida rivalry. Good thing is that we're able, as Dolphin season ticket holders, we don't gotta wait that long. Week 1, we're already here with a bang. So there's a loud atmosphere, and it's gonna be hot. It's gonna be in September. So yeah, I have the Dolphins winning this game.
All right, let's go. Week 2, sir. Buffalo, you go first on this one.
Prime time, Thursday night football. It's a short week. There's a lot of elements and a lot of, like you say, a lot of meaning to this game already from the get-go. But I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I said before, and I'll say it again. Back-to-back home games, big crowd, big atmosphere. I don't think Bills Mafia family is gonna be that effective this year, especially with the short week. So I have the Dolphins beating the Bills. So I'll have the Dolphins going 2-0 first 2 weeks.
All right, I like it. So I'm gonna put here 2-0. I'm looking at the Buffalo Bills schedule. So they open up Sunday, September the 8th against the Arizona Cardinals, and they'll be at they'll be at Buffalo. So they'll be hosting Arizona. CBS prime time that first game. Dolphins and Buffalo Bills is prime time on Prime Video actually. Um, I gotta say because it's early, they don't have their crazy deep wide receiver, uh, depth that they had before the Buffalo Bills. I say some way somehow the Dolphins sneak out a win, and I think the Dolphins get Buffalo in some trouble, even though it's not during the hot ass sun. It's at nighttime, but I think the atmosphere is going to be good enough for the Dolphins to try to win this. So I'm going to say the Dolphins. I agree with you. They'll take the game from Buffalo, and they'll start off 2-0. Let's go.
Remember the Dolphins won against the Bills here in Miami in Week 3 2 years ago, and so
And we also lost last year here. So
yeah, but it wasn't. It was towards the end of the season.
oh yeah, you're right. That's when Tua usually chokes. So you're right. Since it's early in the season, he won't choke because usually there's no pressure on Tua. So he usually is doing really well at the beginning of the season. So you're absolutely right. This should be an easy cakewalk for the Miami Dolphins, right? Don't you think?
I don't want to say cakewalk. At what while you were trying to bash on my boy Tua, I was gonna say that yeah, it was towards the end of the season. You know, there was a lot of injuries around the team, and unfortunately, we didn't capitalize that game. But I feel like with it being our first two games, I think Tua's ready and he'll bounce back.
The damage and worries our roster, and I agree with you, Yo Hood. I think the problem here is we're not gonna have Bradley Chubb, and we don't know how we're gonna get Jalen Phillips at the very beginning. He could be a little bit rusty. He's been out for a while. So, but besides that, we're also not gonna see what we got going on with the replacement of Christian Wilkins. So, and we're also gonna find out what Zach Sealer's out made of. Was it Zach Sealer who complimented Christian Wilkins, or was it vice versa? Like, is there gonna be a difference? Chad
We'll
is
have
Dan
we'll,
Franklin.
we'll
Tell us
have
how you feel.
we'll have Jordan Poyer out there in the back. We'll have Jalen Ramsey there covering. Who's their best wide receiver now? I forgot who.
I have no idea. Well, hold on. Maybe I could see it here.
They had
No,
Curtis Samuel. They picked up the guy from the Kansas City Chiefs, Marquise Valdez, or whatever his name is. They got the guy from our boy FSU, Kenny. I think his name is Kenny. There's a lot of missing pieces from last year towards this year when it comes to the receiving core. So we'll see.
Chad says, I just don't understand who you want to be our QB that we would not take a step back, and who is actually a possibility. We're gonna get to that, Chad. We'll talk a little bit about Tua, especially now that we have the schedule out. All right, going back to our predictions, our predictions. So Seattle. So we got to go to Seattle. At Seattle, afternoon game. We're gonna have a little bit of a rest because we're obviously gonna have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
10 days.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If Miami's a contender, Miami should win this game. I don't see Seattle being a dog of a team like years ago. And their QB is suspect. I mean, I know that they have the veteran QB out there, but I don't know, man. I just see Seattle as a winnable game. I'm gonna say the Dolphins beat Seattle and start 3-0.
When you think about it, let's take a look at Seattle. How's Seattle's schedule? I still don't feel like it's something that we would have to be in a concern. I think Seattle's a great team and they're gonna be competitive, but like you, man, I have the Dolphins going 3-0 the first 3 weeks based off on the schedule right now, on the roster, and pretty much what we have in store. But I don't really see a concern until the week now that we're gonna come into, which is week 4.
It looks like I'm trying to look and see Seattle's schedule. So Seattle took out their schedule. Let me see who Seattle has. Here's a look at the 17 games. That's not it. Hold on. I see something here. Okay, so the week before the Dolphins, September 15th, they're playing the New England Patriots away. so they'll be on the road. So their first two games is Denver, and they're hosting Denver, and then their next week would be against the New England Patriots, where they'll be playing away. So, um, I I, I agree with you, man. I just the Dolphins should be. I think the Dolphins are better than Jacksonville and Seattle, and I think we have enough to kind of like surprise Buffalo, especially because they don't know what we're bringing to the table with the new people that we brought in. So I think we should start 3-0. All right, so we both have it 3-0. Moving on to week 4. Again, Tennessee, man, that damn Tennessee team, but they don't have that their old coach. Their coach left. They fired his ass.
And they lost King Henry.
And they lost Derrick Henry. And it's a primetime game, but remember, Miami hasn't been that good on primetime games. That's one thing. While I'm doing this, what was Miami's primetime record last year? Didn't we go like
I believe it was like 2-4, something like that.
No, I think they only went 1-4. I think the only one we won was against
The
wasn't it
Cowboys.
that was against the Cowboys, right? Because that was considered a primetime game.
Yeah, because we lost against the Chiefs, and that was prime time. We lost against Philly, that was prime time. We lost against the Titans, that was prime time. And I forgot one more. I'm missing one more. And then we beat the Dallas Cowboys prime time. So I'm just not sure.
I'm gonna say that we're able, man. You might call me a homer, man, but we should beat this Tennessee team. I'm gonna say we beat Tennessee, and I said Dolphins start 4-0.
I'll say we're going 4-0 too, sir. It's a little bit of concern, but we're going 4-0, baby.
Remember, guys, this is our prediction, so we're not going
Yeah, this
ahead.
is when you hear a lot of pre, it's because it's like, yo, we're just going we're being, very. Look at the hat right now that I'm wearing, bro. We're doing pre. So
Yeah, we're filling the Dolphins right now. That's what we're doing. Week 5, that should be a cakewalk. We should beat New England. I say 5-0 there. I'm assuming you're going 5-0 as well.
how dare you, sir? How dare you sound like me too? Because we're going 5-0 too, sir. We're going 5-0 going into that bye week. We're gonna be ready.
Okay, so you and me both have the Dolphins going 5-0.
Especially the Tennessee, because I have Tennessee schedule. They play against Chicago, then they play against the Jets, and then they play against Green Bay.
Did you see what Chad said? Oh no, y'all can't go back now. We got receipts. Whoa. So that's why we call it a prediction, because we want to go ahead and predict it at first. Then we'll look at the preseason, and then we'll reassess our prediction, see if anything has changed after we've seen some of these guys.
That's funny.
All right, so we both have it going 5-0 going into week 7.
Yeah.
And that's when we got the Indianapolis Colts. For some strange reason, I feel the Dolphins are going to lose that game. So I said Dolphins take out L right after the bye. I said Dolphins lose to the Indianapolis Colts.
I don't know if Anthony Richardson is going to be still healthy by then. Hopefully he is. But in the meantime, I'm sorry, but we're pretty good after a bye week. So I'll take the Dolphins. 6-0, baby. 6-0.
There we got Arizona. And when it comes to Arizona, man, I mean, I would be concerned if we were playing Arizona at Arizona. But I always remember that Tua game where we went to Arizona and we were in that dogfight and we saw Tua some way, somehow muster a win. And that was probably the first time ever that I had my faith on Tua, assuming that he was going to be a hell of a quarterback for us. That has changed a little bit, but even though it's changed, I still think the Dolphins have enough to beat Arizona at Miami. So I'm going to say the Dolphins beat Arizona and Miami 6-1 after week 8. What about you, sir?
I have a weird feeling that I think Arizona is going to do pretty good this year. I don't know why. I feel like they're going to do well enough, but at the end of the day, 7-0, baby. 7-0.
This guy has the Dolphins going undefeated. All right, now we go to Buffalo, sir. And of course, we just can't muster wins in Buffalo. And I'm going to go ahead and predict it again, man. I just don't see the Dolphins beating Buffalo. I said Dolphins fall, and I say the Dolphins drop to 6-2 after week 9.
I hate to say it, but you're right, sir.
Oh,
You're
you're
right.
fine.
I don't see the Dolphins winning this game. Um, Buffalo Nation. I mean, we've been in their stadium before. It's a very hostile crowd,
We hate Bills
um,
Mafia.
and I feel like the only thing that's good is that they're playing at 1 p.m., so it's not gonna be too cold.
It's a good point.
But I still do see Josh Allen probably by then he's already running away for his life, and he's probably just gonna scramble his way through his win here. He's probably have 2 touchdowns, something like that, 2 rushing touchdowns. So yeah, I see the Dolphins losing that one. First loss of the season for me, sir. First loss, 7-1, baby. We're going 7-1.
Yeah, you have them going pretty good at the beginning of the season. All right, then we got the Rams. Man, there's something about us in the West Coast. I just don't like the West Coast. Um, I'm gonna go with my gut instinct here, and I'm gonna say the Dolphins are gonna lose to this game. I don't think they're gonna win. It's prime time. It's a prime time game in the West Coast. We never do really well in prime time games. Hard, and I doubt it that against the Rams we'll be able to muster a win. Plus, that is Mike McDaniel's kryptonite because that is one of his previous coaches that he's coached against. I mean, that has been was his mentor. So I'm gonna
Actually,
go
they were
ahead.
neighbors. They were neighbors because Sean McVay was under um, the coaching tree of the San Francisco coach.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right about that. You're right about that. Something tells me Dolphins don't win it, so I'm gonna say Dolphins go down and they'll fall to 6-3. Your
This
turn,
is
sir.
gonna be an interesting game. Um, I've noticed that LA does pretty good as the season is closing. I agree with you. I think they'll have back-to-back losses. This is where everyone's gonna be like, why did the Dolphins give to a $50 million in a year contract? That's what I'm gonna be hearing. But we'll just go ahead and just brush off this L and move on to the next game.
All right, now we got the Raiders, and I think this is where the Dolphins kind of take a turn. So I think this is when the Dolphins start to say, "Hey, man, we're the Dolphins. We're gonna make it happen." And I say, and just to kind of like speed it up a little bit, I'll predict game week 3, week 11, and week 12. I said Dolphins win back to back games, and they move on to be 8-3.
Um, that Raider game is gonna be a little shaky. As Christian Wilkins welcome back game, man. There's gonna be a
In
lot of
Miami too.
yep in Miami. But I gotta agree with you. I think by then, Anthony Weaver's defense should be collective and know what they're doing with throughout the season. And then by then, I truly believe this is this Oklahoma Oakland this Las Vegas game is gonna be the game where we're gonna get back. Bradley Chubb, possibly even Jalen Phillips. But I feel like Bradley Chubb will come back around this time of the year. This Raiders game, he'll come back. So yeah, I see them winning both games. Um,
So
again,
you haven't beaten the Raiders and you have them beaten the New England Patriots.
yeah, because I feel like Jalen Phillips may come back for that November 24th game, and they'll have Bradley Chubb.
Well, I think Jalen Phillips is gonna begin at the. I think he's actually ahead of schedule. He's already walking normal. I think
I
he's gonna
get
be
you, man,
available in
but
week 1.
but if I was them, bro, I'll put his ass out until November, bro. Unless like we start off the season completely 180, what we're predicting right now.
Oh,
Um,
not only that, but by this time, you make a good point. By this time, we probably will know what Weaver has as far as defense. We're either gonna suck, or we're actually gonna be a solid defense, in my opinion. So
mhm.
I just don't see New England actually like being a good competitive team against the Dolphins. I still think they need a lot before they could get
I
better.
mean, it's a
Maybe
brand new coach too. Bill Belichick is not there anymore.
they could surprise. They could surprise. So, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna stick to my guns. I say they win both of them. So as of right now, going into Thanksgiving weekend, I have the Dolphins 8-3. You have the Dolphins 9-2. So you have them with one more win. I have them win one more loss. Now let's talk about this Thanksgiving game. Now it's gonna be a short week. We're going to New England.
Wisconsin.
Tua's not. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said New England. We're going to Wisconsin. Sorry, and Tua's not gonna be able to stay with his family for Thanksgiving. That is gonna affect Tua. I think Tua needs to always be having Thanksgiving with his family. It's known, his family tradition, the Hawaiian culture of his and everything. They're all very, very, family oriented. So he's gonna be affected. He's gonna feel a little bit, not there. You feel me? He's gonna feel like I'm leaving my home and I'm not able to enjoy Thanksgiving with the family. I say Green Bay takes Thanksgiving from the Dolphins. I say Dolphins lose and drop to 8-4.
This is a tricky game. Short week, Thanksgiving, prime time too. I gotta look at the Green Bay schedule. What do
Oh,
they got?
I got this guy. All right, let me see if I could.
Hold
Let me
on,
see if
hold
I could look at
on, hold
Green
on,
Bay.
hold on.
Green Bay. Let's see.
Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I was in Wisconsin last year around this time and around that time in November, and it was pretty chilly. I'm not gonna front. It was pretty chilly.
So before they go against the Dolphins. Wait, it doesn't even say here. Wait, is this the right schedule? Oh yes, it is. Week 13. Week 4. Okay, so the week before they have a Sunday game against the San Francisco 49ers.
Ooh,
So first they got San Francisco on Sunday, and then they got the Dolphins on Thursday. You know they're probably gonna lose that San Francisco game.
hey man, you never know, right? But nah, man, I see the Dolphins. I see the Dolphins getting that Turkey Bowl, baby. 10-2, baby. 10-2.
Wow, 10-2. Look at this
Yes,
guy, man.
sir.
He's already having them close to exceeding last year's record. All right. Now we got the Jets, and we got the Jets in Miami. This one's rough, man. This one's hard for me because Aaron Rodgers, I think is gonna be he's gonna be healthy this year. And last year I had the Dolphins losing both games to the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers. This year, I'm gonna say a Dolphins split. So I'm gonna go ahead and say the Dolphins win against the Jets. So I have them 9-4.
This is where my Cinderella story kind of takes a turn because it's December. Statistically wise, we haven't been doing well for the past 4 years now under Tua. I think by here, um, I don't know, for some strange reasons giving me anxiety, but I have to disagree with you, sir. I think the Dolphins are going to lose this game
In Miami.
in Miami. Yes, sir.
All right, so they fall to 10-3. Next, we got the Houston Texans, and they're the Texans, man. Texans used to be a cakewalk. Now they're not a cakewalk. You know what?
By then, we should know what they are, bro. To be honest with you.
I think that Texans team is going to be good this year again. But something tells me that the Dolphins find a way to win a game on the road. And I know it's late in the season, but it is in Texas, so it's not going to be very cold. They said this is the only game that Miami is able to play in the warm at the end of the season, right after the Jets.
Don't they have a dome? They have a dome, no?
Oh, that's true. Yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. They do play in a dome, so weather doesn't play a factor. I'm going to say the Dolphins pull the upset, and I say they beat the Houston Texans. I say they go 10-4.
Like I said before, this is my pre, and right now Houston looks really, scary with all the offensive weapons, and we know what this boy, what's his name from the quarterback for the Texans, C.J. Stroud.
Yeah.
And I see the Dolphins losing back-to-back games.
Damn. So we're both at 10-4 here.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's the stretch that I am worried about. I'm worried about that San Francisco game. I'm worried about that Cleveland Browns game, and I'm worried about this Jets game. You got Miami against San Francisco. It is in Miami, but I still think by that time it's not that cold. San Francisco is usually fighting for the division or for like a number for the top seed in the NFC. I say the Dolphins lose to San Francisco. I say the Dolphins lose to Cleveland. And I said Dolphins lose to Jets. I said Dolphins go 0-3 those last 3 weeks. And I have the Dolphins finishing the season 10-7.
Okay. To wrap it up here, I have a feeling the Dolphins will figure out how to beat the San Francisco 49ers. I am not a firm believer of Deshaun Watson right now, so I do see the Dolphins beating the Cleveland Browns on prime time. And then against the Jets, I'm not gonna lie to you, by then we don't even need to have to put our starters because by then we already have the division. So I'll say the Jets beat us. I think the Jets beat us twice this year.
So you have the Dolphins winning against San Francisco, beating the Cleveland Browns, and then losing to the Jets.
Yes.
All right, sir. So our pre records, I have the Dolphins going 10-7, and you have the Dolphins going 12-5.
Correct.
That is our pre predictions of the Dolphins. Sir, your record, we're definitely in the playoffs. We might have the division. With my record, I think we're in a dogfight trying to get in the playoffs. And we probably don't have the division. But again, this is only the pre predictions. So unlike what Chad is saying, that this whole episode of being bookmarked. No, it's not, sir. This is just our pre prediction before we might have a change of heart. But I think overall we kind of at least can agree that we do have the Dolphins as at least winning double digits, right? We at least have them. I have them winning 10 games. You have them winning 12 games. So there is some ups and downs around the way, but for the most part, we're kind of like we have them riding high at the beginning, bro, and then I kind of have them go like riding low
I
at
mean,
the
it's
end.
pretty standard. I mean, I can really see the Dolphins, be go blow to blow with the first 8 teams of the season, and then
Yeah,
once
the only team that should scare us in all reality should be the Buffalo Bills because they've always beaten us. Maybe that San Francisco game. That's pretty much it, man. Every other game in this schedule is winnable.
yeah,
I mean, even if you put the Rams in there, I still think that's a 50-50 game. Green Bay, that's a 50-50 game. These games are not like Seattle, Tennessee, Jacksonville. Those are
and
all
what I like about it is that we don't have that many away games in a long stretch. You feel me? Like it's either one or two, one or two. You get me?
that's a very good point. Yeah. And even the game from the New England onto the Indianapolis Colts, we have that bye
There's a
week.
bye.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you're right. There is always, there isn't a long stretch either being at home or being away. It's like, hey, we could all if we fall behind and like lose one game, we could always bounce back at home. And you know us, we typically like to play better at home.
Look, and we also have like okay, LA, yeah, it's all the way in LA. Yeah, we flew from Buffalo to LA, but then we stay around that area because we gotta go. Oh no, we gotta go back to Miami for Las Vegas. Okay. So I guess those two are pretty hard stretches, but
Yeah, there's really isn't. I mean, the hardest stretch could be the very end of the season when you got Houston because they could be they're a playoff contender. San Francisco be a playoff contender. We don't know about Deshaun Watson, but if Deshaun Watson gets his shit together, that could be a title, like a contender. And then you got the Jets, whether it's week 14 or 18. If they're strong by then, and like you said earlier, we might by then know who the Jets really are. Either they're title contenders or they suck really bad. So literally, if you look at this, man, kind of check this out though. Week 13, maybe Green Bay is a playoff contender too. So literally 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 could be all against playoff bound teams.
it's just that I'm treating that San Francisco game like the Dallas game of last year, where like we're kind of riding high, and I think we should be good by then.
But remember, San Francisco, that's Coach McDaniel's prior, you know,
Coach.
guy. So, we tend to struggle with him. They kind of know how to pick McDaniel's brain and defeat him. So that's why I'm a little bit concerned about that. So, but hey, man, we got a tough schedule towards the end of the season because if the Jets are really good, then literally, we have 6 games at the end of the season that are going to be against playoff bound teams. You know, so. But overall, ladies and gentlemen, I think we spoken enough of the schedule. I will say this, Nick. Me and my brother like to take some road trips. So if we wanted to go to an away game, obviously Green Bay is out of the question because obviously that's Thanksgiving.
Week 10 for me, brother. Week
I don't
10.
mind that week 10, but man, we would
Mhm.
have to fly all the way to LA for that game.
We will fly to LA on Sunday. Um, you call off that Monday, and then I have that Tuesday off because it's
Yeah.
Veterans Day. So
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. I mean, if we had to pick an away game, it could be that game or maybe that Cleveland Brown game because that Cleveland Brown game is in Cleveland. And Cleveland is always flights to go to Cleveland are always cheap. They're always not that pricey. The good thing is that we don't have to play Baltimore this year. Thank God we don't have to play Baltimore this year because Baltimore gets annoying. I hate playing Baltimore, but
yeah, Baltimore or like who's another team where we're always duking it out with?
trying to think who else is a team that always gives us a run for our money. Detroit, not really. We handled Detroit. The Chargers, we were back to back when it came
I
to
guess
when
you
we
can
were.
say the Chargers. I guess the Chargers would be another team that's like, all right, cool. We're not playing against them.
Kansas
Not
City,
because we're scared or anything. It's just it's time to change things up.
the Broncos. I'm just trying to think of any other team out there.
I mean, we've been playing against the Chiefs the past couple of years too. So the Chiefs.
Yeah, they've been whooping our butts, but they've been beating everybody pretty much. Doesn't look that bad. Before we continue with our Dolphin talk, I'm gonna go ahead and actually show you guys um some of the schedules for our competition, right? Because it's not the same if we don't show you guys also the schedule of some of our
And there's a lot of meaning to these games too, man. There's a lot.
so let's take a look here. And then I'm gonna share this. So let me remove this one. And I'm gonna add and let me take this off. Stop screen. All right. So now let's go ahead and share and let's pick on the no, that's not it. Buffalo Bills schedule. So here we go. Here's Buffalo schedule. Um, this pretty much breaks down everything that they're doing. So we got here Arizona Sunday. They got Miami on Thursday. Then they got Jacksonville. That's going to be televised on ESPN. So they got two primetime games. They got Miami and then they got Jacksonville. Wow, interesting.
Three actually.
Yeah, because yeah, you're right. They got back to back to back prime games because then they got Baltimore on NBC on that Sunday night game. Impressive, man. They have a tough little run right there. You see that? Look at the beginning of the season. Okay, they got crappy ass Arizona, but then they got Miami, they got Jacksonville, they got at Baltimore, at Houston, and at the Jets. Ooh, they're gonna be. You're gonna find out if Buffalo's a contender early on in the season, dude. That's a tough beginning of the stretch of the season, dude. That's no
Just
cakewalk.
that Baltimore and Houston back-to-back away games is pretty tough.
And then remember, they suck against the Jets. They lost to Zach Wilson, so Josh Allen always struggles in New York. So and that's a prime, dude. That's another primetime game. Jesus, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 in the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the first 6 weeks. 4 of their games are prime time. Can you believe that?
Don't worry, they got one more ahead.
They're all prime time. Look at that. They have the Prime Video one with the Dolphins, the ESPN Monday Night Football, the Sunday Night Football with Baltimore, and then that Monday Night Football against the Jets. Damn, they got 4 primetime games the first 6 weeks. Wow, they really, really want to show the Buffalo Bills. All right, then you got Tennessee. They should be able to beat Tennessee. Then they got Seattle. Then they got Miami, Indianapolis. Oh, they play Kansas City this year again? Wow. Man, they really, really love to show Buffalo against Kansas City, bro. That is crazy. Then they got their bye week. That's good for them. They at least have a bye week towards the end. But look at this stretch, man. They got they got San Francisco at home, but that's a tough game. And that's prime time again. Wow, dude. That's a 5th primetime game. Then you got the Rams at Detroit, New England, and then they got the Jets. And then they end the season at New England. Very interesting, Nick. What do you think about their schedule, dude? You like it? Do you think it's harder than the Dolphins? Do you think it's easier than the Dolphins?
For from like just first perspective, fresh reaction, it's a little bit tough, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I
remember
agree.
what I told you? How there's like we always have like one game in between when it comes to the away. Look at Buffalo. Buffalo got there, like you said, the first what 6 games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them are away, and then 2 are at home. But that helps them out because then the last what 5 games of the season, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they got 3-2. So it works. It helps them out.
I mean, if I gotta predict their record, right? I say they beat Arizona. I say they lose to Miami. I say they beat Jacksonville. I say they lose to Baltimore. I say they lose to Houston. I say they lose to the Jets. They beat Tennessee. I say they lose to Seattle. They beat Miami. I say they beat Indianapolis. They lose to Kansas City. They lose to San Francisco. I say they beat the Rams. Wow.
I have them losing 6 games, and the 6 games is probably Baltimore,
wow.
Miami,
Dude, I have them losing more games, bro.
Baltimore, Miami, Houston,
Mm-hmm.
Kansas. No, not Kansas City. They'll probably find a way to beat Kansas City. San Francisco and Detroit, and then one of the random games between the Jets and the New England Patriots.
See, I have them losing against Baltimore. I have them losing against Miami. I have them losing against the Houston Texans. I have them losing against the Jets. They're either they'll win or lose one of the Kansas City San Francisco games. I say they pull one off and they'll lose one of those. Then you got the Rams in Detroit. I say they lose one and win one. So that's 6 losses. Yeah, kind of okay. I could see them losing 6 games this year.
They'll go 11-6 if their team clicks. Worst case scenario, 9-8.
Yeah, I mean it really is going to depend on how they
Finish.
how they start how they
How they start, actually.
how they
Yeah.
start, because if they start strong, then I mean, but look, last year they had the same situation. They had the situation where, hey, you know, the Dolphins, I mean, they were about to lose the playoffs, and then all of a sudden, boom, they actually make their way, and they win. So, and then they were able to make that run. All right, one last particular schedule we want to look at, and that is, of course, the New York Jets, because they're the Jets are going to be the competitors as well. So let's see how many primetime games they have, and I'm pretty sure they have the same. So they got primetime Monday night against, damn, they start the season against the San Francisco 49ers. Wow.
Can you zoom it in real quick?
Yeah. Well, this is as much, I don't want to cut it. Is that good enough right there?
Yeah.
So they got Monday Night Football against San Francisco. They got Thursday Night Football against sorry ass New England Patriots week 3. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Who wants to see that? That's a dumb game. Why would they put that game so in Thursday night? I don't know why New England would be in any primetime games. I mean,
New coach, new player.
Yeah, new quarterback. Yeah, you're right. Maybe that's the reason. And then, so week 1 they got San Francisco, then they got Tennessee, then they got primetime against the New England Patriots. So they got back to back, kind of like back to back primetime games. I don't understand why this Minnesota game is highlighted. Oh, it's in the NFL Network. That's why.
It's an international game.
And there you go. That's why. So it is an international game. Yeah, they're playing like that's in Great Britain. That's why they look like that. Wow. Wow. So that's 3 games. You could consider that. Well, that's not a primetime game, but that's still like a special occasion type of game. Then you got Monday night against Buffalo. Damn. Then you got Sunday night football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got New England. Then you got Thursday night football with the Houston Texans.
Damn, they got 6 primetime games. Holy shit.
Technically, yeah. And if you count the international game, it would be 7.
What the fuck, bro?
Yo, they love the Jets, bro. If they really suck, man, is it gonna be a bummer for the big channels, because you're always gonna be showcased. I mean, they're riding high on the fact that Aaron Rodgers is not gonna get hurt again, and that he's gonna be legit. Man, this is how many games do
Just seeing them win, I see them winning. If I see a healthy Rodgers throughout the whole season, I see him winning
well, how
10
many
games.
games? Oh, you haven't winning 10 games. Okay, so I'll go the same way that we did with the. So I had the Dolphins losing 7. I have the Bills losing 6, and then let me see how many games they would lose. The Jets. I said they lose against San Francisco. Um, um, they lose against the Texans. Um, I say they lose one against Buffalo. Man, oh man, I don't know what happened there, but probably know what happened exactly. Sorry about that, guys. And they got and they got a week 12 bye, so their bye is late. Ah, I see the Jets losing only 4 games this season.
Healthy Rodgers, 10 wins.
Mm. Damn. I
Just
I
because
have
that defense is scary, bro. Defense is very competitive.
4. Dude, where do you have them losing so much? Because look, they're gonna lose to San Francisco most likely. They're not losing to Tennessee. They're not losing. They'll lose. Oh, Patriots usually dominate them. So I'll say even though Bill Belichick is not around, I'll say they lose 1 and they win 1. So New England Patriots. I don't see them. I see them beating the Denver Broncos. The Vikings. They don't have Kirk Cousins this year, right? Kirk Cousins is out, right?
No, they don't have him.
So I think the Vikings are gonna suck this year. They'll beat Buffalo in 1 game and they'll lose the other one. So that's the second. So I got San Francisco, New England, and Buffalo. I think Pittsburgh is decent, but I think the Jets are better than Pittsburgh.
What with Russell Wilson and the defense?
You have some high expectation of Russell Wilson. I don't have that much high expectation of him over there in Pittsburgh. Then you got the Denver Bronco game again. I'm sorry, the Houston Texans. Sorry, the Houston Texan game. That Houston Texan game, I see them. They might lose that game. So that's 4. I don't see them losing to. They could lose to the Dolphins. So 5. Yeah, so 5 games, maybe 6 games with the. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I see them losing about 6 games because I still feel like they're gonna lose 1 to New England, and I still feel that they're gonna lose 1 to the Dolphins. So
I see them losing against San Fran. I see them losing against, for some strange reason, I have a feeling they're gonna lose against Bills, Steelers. They'll probably lose against Houston. They'll probably lose against. I think they won't even beat the Bills. I think they'll lose Bills twice. And
damn, you don't have them beating the Bills?
nah,
I mean, they beat them last year without Aaron Rodgers.
I get you, but
Mm.
I don't know. I feel like they get sometimes outcoached. So
Could be. All right. Well, as of right now, I think we've broken down plenty of the schedules that we actually that came out, and I appreciate everybody tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like and also share while you're watching. Everybody on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, and on X. I do also wanted to go ahead and have a conversation, sir, about Tua Tagovailoa. I know a lot of people like to talk about him. I like to talk about him, and I want to bring him up because Chad also did mention Tua Tagovailoa, and my issues with Tua. Well, this is the thing. Earlier this week, we have some breaking type of stats that our good friend Colin Coward wanted to show of the comparison between Tua and Jared Goff. And sure, these are the stats of the Miami Dolphins, these 2 guys when under 45 degrees. Jared Goff is 4-3-1, Tua's 0-4. The completion percentage is 62.9, Tua Tagovailoa is 54.5. Touchdown to interceptions, 8-2 Jared Goff, 4-5 Tua. And passer rating 89.3. Tua 68.2, sir. Talk to me, man. Jared Goff has earned that contract extension. Tua Tagovailoa maybe has earned it. We know the Dolphins are going to pay him. My question to you is, should he receive the same amount of money as Jared Goff, or should he get more money than Jared Goff?
Well, when you look at these stats, it doesn't favor Tua. It makes
No.
you feel like he doesn't need to earn that type of salary that Jared Goff has. Obviously, Jared Goff was one game away from going to the Super Bowl, and he's been at the Super Bowl before. Obviously, we can't deny Tua overall as an overall record because he's not always going to be in games under 45 degrees. But overall record, he's still positive. And he was still in discussions of MVP talks the past 2 years. And this year, they're adding more pieces to his offense. Has he earned a contract? I'm gonna have to say yes. He has earned a chance to have a really good contract. I'm not quite sure how much Jared Goff is making on an annual basis, but
his contract was 4 years, 212 million. He's making at least over. He's in the 50 million club now.
I'll say Tua will get. How much did this guy from the Chargers? What's his name?
Justin Herbert.
Yeah, Herbert. How much did he get?
Let's see. Justin Herbert's contract. Justin Herbert got 5 years, 262 million.
5 years.
So he's getting. Let me see. 262 divided by 5. He is getting 52.4 million.
Then yeah, Tua needs to be around 54, 52.
He deserves to be at 54, 52, somewhere around there.
Around that range, yeah.
I mean, that's the going rate, right? That's the going rate for quarterbacks right now. They're all hitting the 50 million mark, right? I have no problem with Tua getting 50 million. I hope he stays there. 50 million. Give him 50 million. I think he by him getting 50 million, I think you're giving him the benefit of doubt. Is he better than Goff? No. Is he better than Justin Herbert? Some might say yes, some might say no. I mean, at the end of the day, there's not that big of a difference between Goff and I'm sorry, there's not that big of a difference between Tua and Justin Herbert. And if Justin Herbert is getting 52.3 and this guy's look, man, I know Tua's probably going to get like 50, 54, 55. I think Tua gets 55. That's what I think he's going to get.
Tua's 34 and 19 overall.
But again, it's not just Tua. It's the whole team. Tua's just a piece of it. So I know he's the biggest factor in the actual team, but you still have to take in consideration, how the team performs during crucial games and during crucial moments. That's why
Jared Goff is 66 and 50.
Yeah, but look at these stats, man. Look at these stats that Colin Cowherd posted again when you're dealing with cold weather. And I know people are going to be like, why the hell are we talking about the cold weather? It's because, look, there's actually, it's some way, somehow, it does affect the Dolphins. And it affects Tua.
Like you said, it affects the Dolphins, not just Tua.
Yeah, it affects all of them. So if it affects all of them, including Tua, I just feel like when it comes to his record, his overall record, when it comes to actually like under the pressure, Tua hasn't delivered as much. And that also applies to the whole team. So, but you don't see me saying, hey, pay the whole team buku money, right? That's why I'm saying when it comes to Tua, I don't think Tua deserves buku money either. I think if you keep him somewhere around that 50 mark, 51, 52 mark, I'll be fine. But I honestly feel he's probably going to get 55. I say Tua gets probably 56 million a year. That's how high I'm going to go.
I hope Tua is a swell guy and he accepts Daniel Jones type of money, 45. But from a like you said, from a standard standpoint, I say 50. I think he'll take 50.
All right. All right. Even though we are talking about Tua, I did want to go ahead and show this as well. I know we've been covering the Dolphins now for more than an hour, but we just had a lot to talk about when it came to the Dolphins because of the simple fact that the Miami Dolphins schedule came out at the same time that we're actually talking about them. So this is from your boy Odell. He went on record to say, "Hey, they said his accuracy is different. Just watching his film, there's a lot of great things he's been doing. And when I really sat down and watched the film, I saw an opportunity." So just like you, Nick, Odell is buying in on Tua.
I did see his interview today. Very nice suit, very nice Vice City vibes. I'm really liking the questions they asked him. They said, "Hey, what are the opportunities? What are type of areas that you feel like you fit in this team, especially that you're no longer wide receiver 1 because that's Tyreek, or wide receiver 2 because that's Jalen Waddle?" And his answer was, "Hey, I'm at peace where I'm at right now. All I want to do is be hungry, continue working on my craft." He says Jalen Ramsey's a big part of his impact and why he came over to the Dolphins. And he also understands his role. He understands that he's no longer a wide receiver 1 or 2. He's actually comfortable where he wants to be in his wide receiver 3. And he's looking forward into having to be in the slot. Usually he's always X. So when it comes to the slot, I think he's going to have an area of improvement. And he also mentioned that he sees an opportunity here because Mike McDaniel runs a similar scheme where he thrived the most, which was the New York Giants. And what did he have? A pocket passer. And so let's see what he continued. So that whole narrative of, hey, he's going to complain about not getting enough balls, I think he threw that out of the way. He really felt like he really gave that veteran presence. And I think this is good for the younger wide receivers that we picked up. You know, Taj Washington, Malik Washington, obviously Jalen Waddle, Eric Izukama, Eazy-E. And so this is great veteran leadership on the offensive side now, especially that we have great veteran leadership from the defensive side. And so I'm glad he realized that Tua is a person who he can maximize his ability right now. And he feels really good. He said that he feels solid. He knows he's had his injuries here and there, but he feels good. He feels ready. And the thing that stuck to me the most was that he was like, I understand my role. Mike McDaniel and we broke down film. He was very positive on what he would see. Mike McDaniel, you know how of a guru he is. He had already pretty much a compilation of, a whole bunch of film between Odell and what he can do in his offense. And they also asked him, hey, do you feel at peace right now when it comes to, like, do you need any more drive or, like, finish? How do you feel about finishing your career? He's like, man, I want to finish my career strong. I feel hungry. I feel motivated. I want to go ahead and continue what I'm doing with my career. So I'm liking what OBJ said in the interview. It was really good. Check it out. It's only 15 minutes.
Yeah, man. I like what ODB said. I think he has
OBJ.
I'm sorry, OBJ. Sorry. I don't know why I said OBD. OBJ, I like what he said. I like that he came with a positive attitude. I like the fact that he is coming here with the right mindset. I think my only concern, like I told you already, man, is will this mindset and will this attitude continue throughout the whole season? If it's positive, if he's okay being the third option, if he's okay if he doesn't get thrown the football a couple times and he feels that he doesn't get as much as he used to, and he's okay with that, perfect, man. I mean, we need guys who are role models on the team, and I think he could obviously Odell can be a good role model, especially since he's been in the league for such a long time. And I don't think he's the crazy Odell like back in the day. So if he keeps his mind and is cool and he doesn't cause any ruckus in the locker room, I'm fine with this guy. If I like that he's talking highly about Tua. I think he is sincere with what he's saying about Tua and what he feels Mike McDaniel can do to him to improve his career, especially since he's winding down. But at the end of the day, talk is cheap. So all I hope for when it comes to Odell is that he's able to just stick with his guns and be productive and be a positive role model for the Miami Dolphins and not create, a toxic type of environment in the locker room. The last thing I wanted to show you guys is, me and my brother are season ticket holders, and we we always mention it. But I did want to go ahead and show you guys something that way you guys can see what's going on. As you know, here in South Florida, inflation is through the roof. And I wanted to show this to you guys because this is actually from the Miami Dolphins themselves. And let me zoom in a little bit here. So this is the game for Thursday night football for the Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills. And these are not being sold by a third party. This is actually Miami Dolphins selling these tickets. If you want to go see the Dolphins, you're gonna have to pay some buku money, man. $250 to sit up in the bleachers. Nick, talk to me, man. What do you think about this? And do you are you going to judge us Miami Dolphin fans, season ticket holders, if we decide to sell tickets? Because it looks like it's gonna be very profitable.
Um, I've been you and I we've been members for 10 years now, and having to see the amount change from a couple of $100 to now a couple of thousands, it kind of makes you reflect, like, yo, what's going on, and when is it gonna when is it ever gonna end, and as for you guys, I don't know if all the listeners and viewers out there, I remember a couple of months ago, even the Dolphins sent out a communication, or a fan pointed it out, that they were selling tickets on the occasion, and the Dolphins said, hey, stop doing that, because if not, we're gonna cancel your membership. And so those type of things you kind of worry about. I don't know if it's true or not. That's what the fans said, but having to see a price like that, 250 on a primetime game, is tough. And hopefully fans are able to go ahead and watch a good football game. But with those prices, it's kind of tough.
Yeah, man, it's kind of pricey, man. To be honest with you, it's expensive. If you want to go check out the Miami Dolphins, you're gonna have to pay a little bit more. And like you said, we've been season ticket holders for 10 years, and every year we've seen a drastic change. I think the biggest change was eventually when we brought Tyreek Hill. I think that's when cost of tickets
The biggest
blew up.
jump, the biggest jump was last year. Honestly, I want to say it went from, because each year from 2014 to like 2021, it was always around the same range. Maybe $50 here extra, but then that Tyreek deal brought it up to like an extra $200, and then that following year, that's when the jump was pretty serious.
Yeah. I will let you know, me and my brother, we try to go to every single game. We're not, we don't try to sell them. I do know this. There is some season ticket holders, and I'm being honest with you, and I might as well tell. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to mention names, but there's a lot of Dolphin season ticket members who don't even live in Miami. So they basically fly into South Florida to some of the games, and they sell some of the other games. Like, I remember me and my brother went, and when we tailgated, we saw a couple that said, hey, yeah, we don't live in South Florida anymore because it's so expensive, but we are still Dolphin season ticket holders, and we do sell half of the tickets, and then the other half we try to make it all the way down here. So if you go to 4 games, and then the other 4 games we sell them, at the end of the day, it's still a pretty good bargain for as a season ticket holder, especially if you've been a season ticket holder for quite some time. So I can't judge our season ticket members, because at the end of the day, it makes sense to, kind of collect a little bit, get your money back, right? And I don't think Dolphins should be upset at us, because at the end of the day, we've been loyal to them, especially the ones that have been with the Dolphins for so long. Like, I've given a lot of money to the Miami Dolphins. We both have. So, like, I hope they don't penalize us for selling tickets sometimes, because I know they were talking about it, but I'm not gonna pass judgment on the season ticket holders who do sell their tickets, because at the end of the day, we've been the loyal ones. We were there when it was the good, and now we're doing the bad, and now we're back to being good, and we were always there, And not only that, but we also support the team when we go to like these road games. You feel me? Like, we've been to the last 2 playoff games. We went to Kansas City. I don't know what we were smoking, but we went to Kansas City for that freezing cold game, and then we also went to the Buffalo game the year before that. So I hope they don't penalize season ticket holders because I don't think that would be cool. I think overall we've more than shown that we are loyal to the Miami Dolphins, and for the love of God, we even do a podcast and we talk about the Dolphins. So I hope that they don't penalize us if we were to sell some tickets. But that has been our segment about the Dolphins. We want to jump a little bit on the Miami Heat section. Not too much to talk about. I did want to talk one specific topic about the Miami Heat, Nick, and I wanted to get your opinion. So, there's a lot of stuff going on with Jimmy Butler, right? And I know Jimmy Butler's the name out there. And people are saying, yo, it's time to move on from Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's there. He hasn't been committed to the Miami Heat. He goes and decides to play whenever he wants. He gets injured. He's running out of time. But I'm also looking at Jimmy Butler as, hey, man, this guy has been with us for a very, very long time. He's been with us for quite some time. So that doesn't mean I'm just gonna look at his last 2 seasons and be like, I'm gonna judge him that way. I want to judge him overall in totality. But let's say the Miami Heat do decide and say, hey, look, you know what? We want to keep Jimmy Butler if the price is right. Right? So I did some research, sir. So I'm gonna tell you a couple things. So first and foremost, Jimmy Butler had signed he had signed a 3-year contract, right? 3 years, and it was worth $146.4 million. That was Jimmy Butler's extension, right? So basically, 146.4 divided by 3 years, he was making about 48.8 million, right? And that was for 3 years. Jimmy Butler is 35 years old. 34, sorry. He's 34 years old, right? So I started to look at some of the old geezers out there that still show some numbers and are getting paid in what the same age group as Jimmy Butler. And there was 2 particular guys. And I know Jimmy Butler is not in the same stratosphere as these guys, but these guys are still around the same age as Jimmy Butler or a little bit older, and are still developing and still giving contributions to the team, and they're leaders in their teams. Although they haven't won, but they're still leaders on the team. And my first comparison is Kevin Durant. Now, Kevin Durant, okay, well, before we go to Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler's stats last season, right? So Jimmy Butler averaged 20.8 points a game. He had 5.3 rebounds, and he had 5 assists. So this is Jimmy Butler's stats, right? Points. I'm gonna write this down. Points, rebounds, and assists. Okay, and then we know that Jimmy Butler, he is 34 years old. Okay, so that's Jimmy, and he's making 48.8. Now, let's look at Kevin Durant. First, let's look at Kevin Durant's contract. Kevin Durant had a contract of 194.2 million divided by 4 years. So Kevin Durant is making $48.5 million for 4 years, which is right there with Jimmy Butler, right? The only difference is that he has 4 years instead of Jimmy having 3. Now let's look at Kevin Durant's numbers. Kevin Durant points is he averaged 27.1. He had 6.6 rebounds, and he had 5 assists. So he's averaging just a little bit better than Jimmy Butler. The other person I wanted to look at was LeBron James. Why am I going to look at LeBron James? LeBron James is 39 years old. So we got 39-year-old LeBron James. LeBron James's contract is, hold on, I had it here. Hold on. So LeBron James has 99 million divided by 2. So he's making, 2 years, he was making 99 million, which is an average of 49.5 mil a year. Right? Damn. So notice how all of them are like right there. Jimmy's at 48.8, Durant is at 48.5, and LeBron James is at 49.5. Next, let's look at LeBron's stats. So LeBron is at 25.7 points a game. He
What a beast.
has 7.3 rebounds and he has 8.3 assists. So obviously, out of all three of them, and man, very impressive by LeBron. LeBron is actually still doing way better than than Jimmy and than Kevin Durant. But
Yeah, they are.
even being he's 4 years older and 5 years older than some of these guys, and he's still freaking balling. Talk to me, Nick. Jimmy made 48.8. Durant is making 48.5. LeBron is making 49.5. If the Heat were to offer Jimmy Butler a 2-year extension, right? So if we were just to keep him at the same 48.8 times 2, that would mean 97.6 million. So if we keep him for 2 more years at the same rate, it would be 97.6. Based on these numbers, what do you think I keep saying Dolphins? What do you think the Miami Heat should offer Jimmy if they want to keep him?
I say they offer him 45.
So you're dropping it down at least about 3 million.
45 per year, 2 years, 90 mil. Give him some wiggle room with any new monies that they can, wiggle around with. And he deserves it. I mean, yeah, his season production doesn't look too too flattering, but when you look at his playoff stats, it's a whole new other person. And unfortunately, injuries have rattled him, but we can't deny or not give him the credit that the 5 years that he's been here, we've gone to 3 Eastern Conference Finals and 2 NBA Finals. So, I can't speak for everyone, but I'll speak for myself. I'm willing to give Jimmy Butler 2 more years. But he needs to also realize that it's towards the ending of his career. He's a very wealthy man now. I mean, throughout his lifetime, he's earned a lot of money through different teams. And so hopefully by then he should be aware, hey, I want to win a championship. I'm not going to be a cheap price player, but I'm going to also earn my money, and then I'll have the Heat have some wiggle room to bring in another superstar or, a good assets to the team.
I agree. I feel that the Miami Heat should offer Jimmy a 2-year extension if the price is right. Now, I wanted to look at one more guy, and it just dwindled in my head, and he's a little bit more younger than Jimmy Butler, and that's Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is 152.4 million divided by 3 years. So Kawhi Leonard is making 50 million. So out of all these players, Kawhi Leonard is the one
The claw.
literally raping the Clippers for that money. If the Miami Heat if Jimmy Butler asked for 48, if he asked for the same amount, right? Or if he asked for more, I feel that that's when you got to move on from Jimmy, because it's obvious that with Kawhi Leonard, I mean, with Kevin Durant is averaging more points, and Kevin Durant is making less money than Jimmy Butler. Not that much, a 0.3 of a difference. And then LeBron James is making 49.5, which is more than Jimmy, but his numbers are way better. I mean, he's averaging more points, more rebounds, more assists. If I'm the Dolphins, if I'm the Miami Heat, Jesus, I keep thinking about the Dolphins. If I'm the Miami Heat, I say you offer him less than 40 mil per year. I say you offer him 38 million. You give him a 10 million cut, 38 million. I don't think that's disrespectful. I still think that's reasonable. Oh, what's up, Cat for Life? Yes, sir. Let's see what he says. Reports are coming out that Tua agents and the Miami Dolphins are far apart on contract negotiations. Cap, man. Cap, bro. Cap, my friend. I was telling you, we were talking about this earlier with me and my brother. Telling you right now, Tua wants at least 56 million, man. Tua wants 56, 57 million. That's what Tua wants. I honestly feel if we could get Jimmy somewhere around that 38, I'll even go up to like 41, 42. But he has to take a pay cut. I could keep him. That gives us a little bit of cushion.
That's fair. That's fair.
I think that's I mean that's a big gap of cut, but you also have to see his productivity. He hasn't been the same. He hasn't stayed healthy. He still wants to be with the Miami Heat. You're gonna have to take a pay cut, bro. Although Tua is not taking a pay cut, Jimmy needs to take a pay cut. It's two different players right now. Tua is young, right, and he's doing what he's going like this, and Jimmy's kind of going like this. So
I
I
say
was,
Jimmy's going like this. Just he's stagnant right now.
I'll tell you what. His first year with the Heat, 19 points he was averaging. Then he went up to 21.5. He stayed at 21.4. Last year he went 22.9, and then this year he went down to 20.8. So he had his worst season with the Miami Heat as far as points in total was his first season with the Miami Heat, 2019, 2020. And if you're looking at the games played, bro, he's still averaging the same amount of games. It's crazy. And a lot of people are criticizing Jimmy for the amount of games. Since he's been with the Heat, 58 games, 52 games, 57 games, 64 games, 60 games.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see where he's coming from. Like it might seem like Jimmy doesn't give a damn and Jimmy ain't playing, but he is actually playing. He is actually doing better than he's done when you actually put numbers together. I just for me, as far as the role, I think because of his age, because of the fact that he sometimes doesn't want to play, because of sometimes that his injuries are piling up, I would hope that Jimmy takes a pay cut and stays with us for 2 more years. Give him somewhere around 38 to 42, somewhere around there. You can give him 42, that's fine. But you can't give him the same amount. You can't give him 48.8 again. And I don't know if Jimmy.
All right. So you brought out the season stats. I'm gonna bring out the playoff stats. COVID year 22.2. The year they got swept by the Bucks 14.5. The year they went to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost against Boston 27.4. And then the year that we did the Cinderella story 26.9.
He does go up like this in the playoffs, clearly. I mean, he went down the second year, but then the third and
that was a short year because they went to the finals the previous year.
But this year he didn't play because he was injured. So this year you got to give him 0.
Correct. So, unfortunately, injuries rattled on him.
It's a tough decision. It's a tough question. What would you do with Jimmy? I say you re-sign him for 2 years as long as he takes less than what he's getting paid. I think paying him $42 million seems reasonable, dude. He's old. Let me. You want to know something? And I know it's been a couple years, but what was let me see. What was D Wade's contract towards the end?
It wasn't that much. It wasn't that much.
He wasn't getting. Or what was D Wade's contract with the Chicago Bulls?
Like 24 mil, 25 per year.
So he got 2 years, 49 million deal with the Chicago Bulls. Wow, back then they weren't paying shit. Divided by
25 million is a lot of money per year.
No. I get you. But what I'm saying is, compared to what these guys are making, Jesus, these guys are making over 48 million.
Revenue, that just shows you how much the NFL and the NBA have generated a lot of revenue for them to go ahead and move the cap and salary.
This was in 2016. Dwayne Wade was making 24 million. I mean, we're talking about
8 years ago.
Yeah, it's 8 years, but Jesus Christ, like, damn, dude, that's crazy. And that was an older Dwayne Wade too. So I was trying to look for like a player that is kind of like in the same level as Jimmy and how much he's averaging. Like if there's a player that's averaging less than 48 million and Jimmy's type of caliber. You understand me? But I'm looking at because I Googled it to see a 30-year-old NBA players, right? And
what about Kyrie Irving? Well, what is he making?
Well, Kyrie's not in. Is Kyrie in his 30s already? Let me see. Kyrie. All right, hold on. Kyrie Irving is 32, so he has the same age as Kawhi Leonard. And let's take a look at his contract. He is 3 years, 120 million. So Kyrie Irving is making about 40
40.
million. You see, that's not okay. That's a good. Okay, there you go. You got give him a Kyrie Irving contract,
Mm-hmm.
and you know Kyrie Irving is a troublemaker type of team player, right? So he's a troublemaker type of player.
Not
Jimmy
anymore.
Butler's he stepped it up this year. This year he's doing pretty better. That's a good contract. You see that 38 to 42 mil in my eyes is not a bad idea, right? I think that's
Nope.
reasonable, dude. I
I think
think
so too.
because I'm looking at who else is anybody else in the
Look at DeMar DeRozan's contract. I know he's not a high caliber, but he's a guy who used to be, well known.
well, the only other guys is Steph Curry, Anthony Davis. Hold on. We already spoke about Kevin Durant. We got LeBron James, Jimmy Butler, Kawhi Leonard, Dame Lillard. You know, Dame Lillard is 33. Let's see what Dame Lillard got.
He's making like about 50.
Dame Lillard. Damn, Dame Lillard's getting paid, bro. Shit. Nah, man, he's making way more than that, dude. Dame Lillard is making 216 million divided by 4.
Making like 50.
He's making 54 million. Wow. The Bucks got raped by that guy. No wonder he went over there. What about James Harden? James Harden is another one. Let's see what James Harden is doing. James Harden's current contract is he's kind of his contract is kind of shitty. 69 million for 2 years.
That's like about 30 something, sir. That's still pretty high for James
No, no,
Harden.
no. I'm just saying as far as like compared to the other guys, compared to like the Kevin Durant's, the Jimmy Butler's, he's down there. He's not like
Well, if you look at his Houston contract when he was in the Houston Rockets, he was
oh,
getting
of course, I see that. And then Paul George is another one. Let's see what Paul George's contract is looking like right now. Paul George current contract. Damn, Paul George is also banking. No wonder they want to get rid of him. Paul George is 176 million for 4 years. So he's averaging about 44 million.
There you go, 45.
Somewhere around there, man. Give Jimmy 42, 38 and 42, somewhere around there, and I'll be happy. I'll keep him.
I agree.
Best thing. All right, sir. Next topic is quickly. We're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about the Panthers. I know we've been going at it for almost 2 hours now, so I want to kind of talk really quickly about the Panthers. But I want to get your opinion about last night's game and what do you think that the Panthers need to do in Game 6 in order to possibly put the pressure and on the Bruins and not us.
I mean, yesterday's game was. I have a feeling this series has been about who starts really strong, and Boston they had a really strong first period. That both be calcum. But you got to look at the bright side. Look, it wasn't an ass whooping. It wasn't like they were down just 2-1. You know, throughout the whole game, they were holding on to their dear life. Boston. That swingman guy, that the goalkeeper for Boston was playing really well. Bobrovsky was playing really well. It was just the puck wasn't finding the net, and Paul Maurice will find its adjustments. And I have a feeling that Boston is gonna be done on Friday because they don't play tomorrow. They play Friday, or play Thursday, I believe, or Friday. Is it Friday? I think they play Friday.
I believe they play Friday, yeah.
And so, I don't. It all depends on how strong the Panthers start in the first quarter, in the first period. And then from there we'll set the tone. Panthers are more physical than them right now. Wow, this guy Luka Doncic just crazy basket. This guy is on like 7 injuries right now. But yeah, the Panthers, I have a feeling they'll close it out. They've been playing pretty well away, and it seems like hockey playoffs, there really isn't a home field advantage. As you can see, we lost 2. They've beaten us twice at home, and we've beaten them twice at home. So
yeah, I mean, this year's hockey's so unpredictable, man. Like sometimes you'll see them dominating, and then sometimes you don't. Like at one point in time, we had the Panthers, 2-1, heading into I'm sorry, 3-1 heading to Florida and to close it out. And then we lose, we lost. And in this particular game, the Panthers, like you said, the Bruins started early. They scored. Then the Panthers tied it up, and then the Bruins were able to go ahead and get that last goal. And a lot of people were criticizing because they were saying, hey, Bob got interfered, but they did the check and it was allowed. When you look at the stats and you look at the shots on target, um, the Panthers actually had more shots. They had 29 compared to 28 from Boston. It's not a big of a difference, but the Panthers won more faceoffs. They won 34. Boston only had 30. The Panthers had more power play opportunities. They had 4. Boston had 3. It just again, everything was favorable for the Panthers, but yet they weren't able to
Capitalize.
capitalize and close the deal. I will say this: the Panthers need to win Game 6. I know that we have Game 7 here in Florida if it goes that far, and I know last year we had to go 7 games, and we played Game 7 in Boston and beat Boston at Boston. But I think that's why it gives me more confidence that Florida will win Game 6, and I think they'll close the deal. I think they learned their lesson. I don't think Paul Maurice has to go ahead and give him that pep talk like what he was doing in the last game. I think the Panthers are going to take this serious. They want to kind of close it out, especially for the simple fact that the Rangers and Hurricanes game is almost finished as well. So I think it favors the Panthers to go ahead and try to give it all in Game 6 and just close the deal. So I got the Panthers hopefully taking it Game 6 and then just sitting and waiting to see who they got to face next, whether it's the Rangers or Hurricanes. But I was a little bit disappointed that they weren't able to close the deal last night. But like you said, I think it's all about who starts early in the game. Like whoever scores first, you got momentum riding for you. Then the pressure's on. So we'll see. And yesterday was a game where not that many goals were actually made. So typically, when they played in Florida, all the games were high end scoring goals. High end
Yeah, it was
scoring
usually
games.
6, 7 goals. Yesterday was just 3 goals.
Yeah. So like for example, I think I could pull this up here. The first game against the Bruins, it was 5-1. We lost to them. Second game, we beat them 6-1. And then those were the 2 games in Florida. And then the other game in Florida was yesterday, which was just 2-1. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they're able to shut it down and close the deal and then move on to the Eastern Conference championship game. Hopefully make it to the Stanley Cup Finals, because I think that's the best team that actually has opportunity to win a championship in South Florida. But besides them, sir, there's one more team here in South Florida that is ready to bring us a championship, and it's the league leading Inter Miami, sir. Inter Miami with Messi, Luis Suarez. I mean, I was actually talking to a couple of my friends today, and sir, I got some stats for you. Luis Suarez is tied for number 1 in most goals made in the MLS this year. Number 2, now there's 2 other players tied with him. A guy from Washington DC United, and then Christian Arango, the Colombian, is actually tied with him as well. So shout out to Christian Arango, Colombian. He's actually tied with Luis Suarez. I think they all have either 11. Yeah, they have 11 goals. And then in second place is Lionel Messi. He has 10 goals. And then leading the league in assists is your boy, Lionel Messi. So, sir, talk to me. Inter Miami, what has been your first impression? And of course, the Inter Miami game earlier today, apparently it already ended.
0-0.
It ended 0-0. Lionel Messi did not play today. We did not get Lionel Messi. Maybe that's why we ended up being 0-0. Sir, talk to me, man. What do you think? What do you think about this Inter Miami team? What do you think about their game today? Obviously, we weren't able to catch it because we've been live, but overall, they're still leading the league, 28 points. Cincinnati's the only in second place with 27. Talk to me, man. What do you think about Inter Miami and their chances to go ahead and then bring a title here to South Florida?
This team looks good right now. I mean, I think offensively they're really, really strong, and eventually they will hopefully dominate the rest of the season how they are right now offensively. Defensively, there's a lot of concern, but I think offensively it's been really productive, especially when Messi's on the field.
I agree, man. And I think overall our only area of opportunity I think is the defense. But look, they were able to hold themselves strong against an Orlando team that was riding high. They just had this guy, the Colombian, come in, Luis Sinistierra, and they weren't able to beat Miami, even with not Luis Sinistierra, my bad, Luis Muriel, and they didn't weren't even able to bring him. They weren't able to score on Inter Miami today without a Lionel Messi in the lineup. So it's looking strong for Inter Miami, and it looks like the defense is starting to find its own, and it looks like bright. It looks bright for Inter Miami, and I think if we can stay healthy, and I think if Messi can stay healthy, I don't see why Inter Miami should not win this year's MLS Cup. Another thing I wanted to talk about, sir, excuse me, sorry about that, is of course Champions League. The grand final is on June the 1st. Real Madrid, obviously, against Borussia Dortmund. La Liga already crowned the champion. Real Madrid won, but there is still pending one particular league that has not finished, and that is the English Premier League. And Manchester City has the opportunity to win it all this weekend when they have to. At least all they need is a tie, to be honest with you, because they won this past weekend. And right, talk to me. What do you think about Man City and their chances of closing out? They got two big games. They got obviously West Ham, which is May the 19th, which is the all they need is a tie, and then they win the EPL. And then the 25th, the following weekend, they have the FA Cup final against your team, the frauds, Manchester United.
That's a tricky game, man. I mean, Arsenal has Everton, which is another tricky game. At the end of the day, I have a feeling, unfortunately, Man City's going to win this league.
They would break the record for being the first team to ever win 4 EPL cups in a row.
They've won the league 3 times already?
Yep. 3 in a row. This would be their 4th one. So they would break the record for winning it the 4th time in a row, which is insane, right?
Oh wow, you're absolutely right. The last time the last winner was Liverpool in 2019. Holy shit. That's impressive, man. I mean, at the end of the day, Man City has been doing really well. Unfortunately, Arsenal, they need to pray. They need to pray that West Ham
It's a miracle, right?
West Ham, because right now they're up by 2 points.
They're up by 2 points. Yeah.
And if it's goal differentials, then because right now goal differentials, Arsenal has a positive 1 with 61, but it all depends on those 2 games, obviously. But I don't see Man City. I don't see Man City fumbling the bag against West Ham, even though West Ham is a top 10 team.
Yeah, I mean, they did play against Tottenham this past weekend, and they beat Tottenham 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Man City's goalkeeper, the Brazilian guy, he actually got, I think, concussed a little bit, and they had to take him out, and they put the
That's
sub.
my concern. That's my concern that Ederson is not back fit for this coming up Sunday.
But hey, man, the replacement for Ederson balled out, dude. He did really well. Like, I was impressed. Like, he had his moments, man. He blocked. He had a clean sheet, sir. He had a clean sheet, and it was Tottenham, who is a 5th seed right now, compared to West Ham, who's going to be a 9th seed. I think I'm not saying that guy should be the starter every single time, but at least he came in and he got the job done. Now, I do want to go ahead and give a shout out to our boy John Jader Duran, who scored 2 goals in the last couple minutes of that Aston Villa versus Liverpool game. And Liverpool was up 3-1, and then he scored 2 goals in a row, and the game ended in a draw, 3-3. So shout out to our boy Duran, who actually came in as a sub and got both of those goals in. I don't know if you got to see that, Nick, but that was a hell of a game, dude. It was fun to watch that game. I
The
watched.
second goal was kind of like a miracle goal, but hey,
Sir, that was not a miracle goal. That was
it
a
was a
goal
miracle.
that he knew he was gonna do with his knee, so he was able to get it in there.
This just gives Nestor Lorenzo more of an option on who they should put as depth. Um, I wouldn't say he's the number 9 for Colombia, but you got to put him in the bench and have him train with the other guys for this upcoming Copa America. You already see him producing coming off the bench. He's only 20. I have no other reason why not to put him in the bench for the up and coming Colombia game, which should be coming up now towards the ending of this month, early June.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I think he should be called up, and I think overall he should be the um, the backup to John Cordoba and the backup to uh, the other offensive player. What's his name? The one
Sierra.
Casierra. So hopefully he's able to go ahead and get called up. I know the Copa America is right around the corner, so we should hopefully get some news as far as who are the players who are going to be called up for that tournament. But I think that's pretty much everything we covered when it came to soccer. Nick, is there anything else you wanted to talk about? Anything, any other sport? I know we didn't cover NXT, but we could cover NXT next week. I know that the Dolphins season schedule release kind of took up most of the time today. So
I guess I just wanted to, a little quick note. Today I stumbled upon on ESPN FC that Carlo Ancelotti, in fact, this is what they said, that he might put Thibaut Courtois in the final for the Borussia Dortmund game. And a lot of people are like, "What's going on? Why are you gonna give this man? We know what he brings to the table on the team, but this guy hasn't played all year, and you're gonna just let Lunan just do him like that." I mean, I don't know. I'm not liking that. That's not good.
that's a
But hey,
typical move by him too.
yeah, right. Typical Ancelotti.
He likes
Um,
to
But yeah,
surprise
that's
people.
been the kind of like the rumor right now, that's why he's been letting them play the past couple of La Liga games, because he wants to kind of prep them up. And if you kind of think about it, Courtois, ever since coming back in 2 games, Madrid won 4-0 and Madrid won 5-0. So
I mean, Courtois is gonna be Courtois. Like he's just a beast out there. But I mean, why complicate it? Why switch it up? But Ancelotti is the type of person that he's loyal to his players, and he knows that although Lunad was the guy who kind of brought him over and made him to the final, Courtois is their guy. So I could understand him wanting to play him, and if he's delivering shutout games back to back, that's not helping the cause for the prior goalkeeper to
what
get
would
the
you
starting
do?
nod.
What would you do? What would you do?
Man, I would have to see how they look in practice, right? I would do that. I would first look at behind the scenes in practice because you're obviously seeing that they're doing really well, at what it is. And then I would judge my decision on practice. I would have them both go ahead and see how they do, and maybe had even like a competition, like a penalty competition or something like that, just to see how both of them are doing. And I say, hey, whoever does better gets the nod. And at the end of the day, I would give that person a nod because look, I feel bad um that Courtois might take over, but I mean, Courtois has been with this team for so long, and I mean, he's a vital piece, man. He is
3 clean sheets. I'm sorry. He played against the Cadiz game, which was another 3-0 win.
you see, it's just how can you do that to Courtois? Like he's just he's a legend for Real Madrid. He's been one of the best goalkeepers for Real Madrid in a long for a while now. So it's hard, man. It's hard to say no to him. And what people say is that he's going back to his former. He could probably even be even better. He's shutting people down even after a huge layoff. It's hard, man. And it's the final. It's like I'll give you an example. It's like Jimmy Butler. If Jimmy Butler had the opportunity to come back and play for the Miami Heat, and the game is on the line, the game 7, even a 50% Jimmy Butler, I would still put in front of, like, I don't know, a Tyler Hero, just because Jimmy's just been with the Heat and has always delivered. You're gonna get that from Courtois. Could it cost them? Yes, but at least you know that you made the right choice by doing and bringing in the guy. I think Antelocci's gonna be like, yo, I gotta go with the guy who's always been, on point. And even though he
Fair
didn't
enough.
lead us to the final, I know I could always trust him. He's always been my guy. So
We shall see, sir. 16 days from now, we shall see.
all right, sir. It's been a long show. I want to thank everybody who's tuned in. Thank you so much, Cat for Life, King Mahi Carlos, Chad, 90 MFC, Yo Hood Urich. Thank you so much, man, for chiming in. Everybody who watched us on all social media platforms, Twitch, X, Facebook, YouTube. Don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to share. Also, don't forget to follow us on social media, Fresco Music. The YouTube channel is Frankie Fresco. Don't forget to also follow my brother DiTrapio. Sir, where can they find you on all social media platforms?
You can find me at Instagram or X at That Way Nick. Again, we appreciate you guys watching, listening. And let's see what happens with these Florida Panthers, sir. Let's see how these Florida Panthers roll.
Absolutely, man. We will go ahead and see. There might be some slight schedule change next week. Next week it appears I'm actually DJing on Wednesday, so I'm gonna see and talk to my brother if we could actually maybe either move the episode for either, I don't know, maybe Monday or maybe even Thursday or Friday. We have to kind of like talk about that, Nick, and find out. I know we kind of mentioned it, I think yesterday or the day before, but if anything, if that gig doesn't come through and it falls and it, unfortunately it goes away. I mean, I'm 50-50 with that gig if I'm going to do it or not. But if it falls, then obviously the show will be back next week for episode 26. If not, then we'll try to squeeze in the show sometime throughout next week. And if we can't, then obviously we'll just come back the following week, the following Wednesday, and follow up with our episode 26. So, Nick, man, any final words before we go?
Have a great weekend. Have a great week. And pretty much positive vibes, sir. I'll see you next week. We'll coordinate on our next show, and we'll see how these two contract negotiation talks continue.
Yeah, man, we'll go ahead and take a look and see what Tua. Hopefully by then we know something more about Tua. I mean, Cap for Life is saying that far apart, but I think that the Dolphins are eventually going to get something done. And when it comes to Inter Miami, Florida Panthers, Miami Heat, all those teams, I hope that they all progress. I know we're going to talk about the Marlins because the Marlins never show us any love. But hey, they won again the other day. I was able to get a Whopper Jr. So if the Marlins always win, I will be going ahead and getting that free Whopper Jr. from Burger King. Don't forget to get free Whopper Juniors every time the Marlins win in Miami. So shout out to everybody once again. And for everybody, thank you once again. Let me talk to you. Episode 25 in the books. And we'll see you later.
Let me talk to you.
The biggest icon in wrestling.